Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Hello and welcome to another Magic Arena gameplay video. This time we're taking a look at a mono-green elf deck in Standard. We've got a pretty straightforward deck list here, so let's quickly go over it. At 1 mana we've got the full 4 copies of Adventurous Impulse, which can help us find specific creatures or lands. We've got the full 4 copies of Llanowar Elves, obviously. 4 copies of Pelt Collector, which also happens to be an elf. Not as great as it will be in some of the mono-green stompy decks, since we don't have as many high-powered creatures, but still a totally fine addition to our deck. Then 2 copies of Druid of the Cowl for more mana acceleration. 4 copies of Elvish Clancaller, which is the first real payoff card for being an elf deck, giving other elves +1/+1. And then at 6 mana can also be used as a mana sink to search up additional copies of Elvish Clancaller. Also the full 4 copies of Thorn Lieutenant, which is a pretty decent 2-drop, especially against the red decks, since it will leave behind a token if they try and kill it. And also nice mana sink late game. For 6 mana we can give it +4/+4. And then at 3 mana we've got the full 4 copies of Marwyn, the Nurture, another payoff card for being an elf deck. 3 mana for a 1/1 legendary creature, and whenever another elf enters battlefield under our control, we can put a +1/+1 counter on Marwyn, and Marwyn taps to add green mana to her mana pool equal to her power, so the larger Marwyn gets, the more mana we can generate, and with all the cards we'll be drawing, as we'll see in a second, we can definitely use all that extra mana. And Marwyn also works very nicely with Elvish Clancaller, since not only does she get a +1/+1 counter, but she also gets +1/+1, so it's mana neutral in a way to play Elvish Clancaller when you have a Marwyn that can then tap for mana, since she'll get +2/+2, which equals the 2 mana you spent on the Clancaller. And next up we've got the full 4 copies of Steelleaf Champion, another payoff card for being a mono-green deck, also happens to be an elf, and helps us grow our Pelt Collectors, so a perfect fit for the deck. And then at 4 mana we've got the full 4 copies of Beast Whisper, also happens to be an elf, 4 mana for a 2/3 that draws us a card whenever we cast a creature spell, and thanks to all those cheap elves in our deck we can draw a ton of cards right away, and with all the extra mana that Marwyn provides, we can quickly deploy all the extra cards we draw as well. And then at 5 mana we've got some more card draw engines, 2 copies of Vivien Reid as a powerful planeswalker that can also destroy artifacts, enchantments and flying creatures, and the +1 ability also helps us find more creatures. And then we also have a 1 of Vanquisher's Banner naming elf, which can also help us draw more cards like Beast Whisper, but also gives our elves +1/+1. And then our mana base, very simple, just 23 basic forests, and we can afford to only play 23, thanks to all the Adventurous Impulses and the Llanowar Elves providing extra mana sources. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. And this hand looks good. Turn 1 Pelt Collector, turn 2 Clancaller, turn 3 Steelleaf. Don't get to grow the Pelt Collector, but it still gets the +1/+1 bonus from the Clancaller, so it's still fine. Yeah, our deck is a little light on 2-drops that grow Pelt Collector, but there just aren't many 2-drop elves that we can play that we aren't already playing. Alright. So our opponent could be on a green-white tokens deck. History, alright. Steelleaf is going to be pretty important in the matchup, so I want to get that down as soon as possible. So nice aggressive curve. Next turn, probably playing Marwyn, we'll see. Migration, that's fine. Do they have also Tribunal? Looks like it. So they can get rid of Steelleaf. But at least we'll get another attack in with the Pelt Collector. And they probably convoke except for the Knight token, so they can attack for 2 with it. I guess if they have a land, then they can keep 2 creatures untapped, so we won't be able to attack with the Pelt Collector necessarily. It's taking them a while to figure it out. Ooh, it's a Loxodon instead. Fair enough. So Steelleaf can attack, but we'll be taking quite a bit on the way back as well. Still worth it. And then we can go Marwyn plus Impulse. Probably want Impulse first on the off chance that we find another Steel Leaf, which might be worth it. Or another Clancaller could be fine too. Did find another Steel Leaf. So I don't hate taking Steel Leaf, playing it, growing Pelt Collector, and then we have to decide whether we want to trade a Pelt Collector for a Loxodon or not. It would clear a path for Steel Leafs in the future. On the other hand, if they kill Steel Leaf, Pelt Collector would outgrow the Loxodon. I think we just want to be aggressive. They're probably gonna take the trade. The fewer creatures the opponent has, the less they can convoke as well. Alright, so we're taking 10. But right now they could only block one Steel Leaf with both Knights and still take 6. Let's see if they maybe have the Tribunal. They're taking 2. Okay. And a Trostani second main phase, that's a little strange. Fair enough. Do they also have a Tribunal? Looks like it. Well, that was quite a beating. Didn't think we were recovering from this. Nope, another Loxodon. Well then. Opponent's got quite a bit more power and toughness than we do. Yeah, Convoke's a pretty good mechanic, as it turns out. Can only play defense here, no good attacks really. I guess if we attack with both, then yeah, we're just trading both champions for a Knight and a Loxodon, which isn't great. At least the champions keep back everything except for their Loxodon. Next turn we can maybe get another Clancaller, start growing our Steel Leaves. So I mean, who knows? But the opponent might just have lethal if they attack with everyone here. We'll let them figure it out. Opponent does not attack. I guess that's a good thing. So playing Pelt Collector is mana neutral given Marwyn, so we might as well play it. And I think we're just gonna slowly get more Elvish Clancallers. I don't think we're in a spot where we can attack yet, so let's just pass a turn. Maybe a Spore Swarm end of turn, or a Giant March of the Multitudes, it looks like it. And then they probably have lethal on the way back. Yep, alright. Well, our opponent had a pretty ideal hand. And a Flourish to boot. Yeah, that's almost a perfect curve, I would say. Maybe missing a Tribunal in the mix. But they ended the game with 0 cards in hand, so yeah. Can block 2 creatures, get another Clancaller. Yeah, we're super dead here. Alright, GG's. Well, we got pretty close in the end, but not quite enough. This hand looks good. Nice aggressive start, and then we can drop Marwyn and grow it with a second Lieutenant. And then Marwyn will help us activate the Lieutenant's abilities as well. Opponent 1-6. And they're on the red deck. Alright, let's see if we get shocked. We do not. That's good. Maybe a Lightning Strike. Alright, they drew shock for the turn. Let's see if they Chain Whirl us. Just a Steamkin. So we could try to Marwyn, although if they do have a Chain Whirler in hand anyway, we get wrecked. So we're probably better off just playing a Steel Leaf Champion here. And I don't hate attacking with the Thorn Lieutenants. Usually we're not the beatdown in the matchup and the opponent's the aggressor, but when we get the chance to get in some free points, we should go for it. And then next turn, we might drop Marwyn, we'll see. Alright, Lightning Strike takes out Lieutenant, but we get a token. Alright. So, to Marwyn or not to Marwyn. If we Marwyn now, then our token and Marwyn would both die to a Chain Whirler. Opponent had the opportunity to play it on turn 3 instead of the Steamkin, but it still makes sense for them to potentially want to play Steamkin first. So the only play we have that plays around Chain Whirler is Lieutenant. If we want to push damage, we could just Clancaller here. And then it's unlikely they have another shock since they drew one on turn 2, they didn't have one in hand already. So attacking with a token would be relatively safe. This is close. I think I'm still gonna play Marwyn since I want the extra mana here to try and get the banner in play. And if they have Chain Whirler, then so be it. Alright, just a gutter snipe. That's fine. Alright, so we can start going off here. Can go Clankcallers, mana neutral with Marwyn, so we can play one, play Llanowar Elves. Now imagine having a banner in play as well and drawing a card whenever we play an elf. I think we're fine attacking. Alright. Well. Marwyn survived and we got to go off. And next turn we could play the banner, we could search up another Clancaller, we'll see. Did this deck inspire me for the modern video? Not quite. I already had it on the weekly poll, but maybe it's the other way around. Although not really, since the chat voted for the elf deck and I didn't suggest it. So I guess it's just a coincidence. So they've got a 4/4 Steamkin, could potentially use it to make more mana. If they want to empty their hand. Ooh, Demanding Dragon. So, are they dead if we just pay 5 life? They should be. Yeah, we should have more than enough here. Opponent's tapped out, Steamkin doesn't add mana. Plus we drew Clancaller anyway. Alright, sweet. Well, managed to beat a strange build of the mono red deck. Just had to dodge Chain Whirler for that one turn. So we're 1-1. This hand looks okay. If Llanowar Elves survives, we might be able to go off. Yeah, if our opponent is playing the red deck and they have a Chain Whirler, we go turn 1 Elves, turn 2 Marwyn. They go turn 3 Chain Whirler and blow up our entire board. It's not a good time. Alright, no red. Think we still Llanowar Elves here. And then Pelt Collector is a nice follow-up to Beast Whisper and Marwyn. Maybe a Moment of Craving or a trophy. Well, they do have something. Maybe they're just reading Marwyn. Could be. So let's say Marwyn somehow survives. What's our play? Can play a land, play Beast Whisper into Pelt Collector. Are they gonna kill Marwyn in response? Then we can just float mana. Plus we get a land from trophy, so that works out. I'm gonna go full control here just to make sure the floating mana doesn't mess us up. Alright. Plus we have a backup Marwyn anyway. No one drop, sadly. Well, there goes Beast Whisper. Definitely drawing a few too many lands. So hopefully we can draw some action that does qualify. Perfect. And an Impulse. Alright. Well, we're doing pretty well here. If we can just string together some more elves. And Lieutenant's a nice one when we're flooding out a bit, since we can always make use of the ability. Although we would have preferred to draw more creatures here. I'll trade. Opponent down to 11. Next turn we can activate Lieutenant. That's a good one. Ooh, nice. Well, we can attack with Lieutenant. Let's see. They're probably gonna trade Chupacabra for either a Marwyn or Pelt Collector. I guess we can, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I've seen things that would break someone like
If that works. So we can attack with Lieutenant and Pelt Collector, and then we can decide between pumping Lieutenant or playing Beast Whisper. Or we can just play Beast Whisper, play defense. Although I do kind of like being aggressive here. So let's send. Opponent trades. And I mean, pumping also makes sense because that way we can go Beast Whisper into a creature and not risk another Chupacabra killing Beast Whisper right away. And this way next turn they have to chum block the Thorn Lieutenant, otherwise they're dead. So puts them in an awkward spot. So don't hate our position. Finality, sure. Just wipes the board. And that's a nice follow-up too. Alright, let's draw some cards. And now the extra land drops come in handy. Alright. If they have another finality, they first need a land. Plus we still have Vivien going. Yeah, I don't think Vraska's gonna cut it. They can't kill Beast Whisper, they can't kill Marwyn, but then we just play Clancaller and they're dead. Alright, sweet. So managed to outgrind black-green. Alright. This one's looking okay. Turn to Clancaller into Marwyn, into Beast Whisper. I guess we could play Lieutenant instead. Beats down a bit harder. And if they're a blue-red deck, then this might leave behind a token at least. Alright, so no Essence Scatterers. I'm okay if they counter Marwyn. So no early interaction whatsoever. And a Murmuring Mystic instead. Alright, fair enough. So we can go Beast Whisper into Thorn Lieutenants. And next turn we can completely go off with a second Beast Whisper. Did they find a counterspell in the meantime? Looks like they might have. Hypothesizzle. But Beast Whisper is on cast, so if they are planning to kill Beast Whisper, they should have done so main phase. Or are they going after Marwyn? Fair enough. Let's float some mana. So we won't be able to empty our hands, but still gonna get pretty far here. So can go double Pelt Collector is probably better. Draw the cards while we can. Alright, don't need full control anymore. Oh yeah, this feels good. Alright, now we might want to consider a Clancaller. Alright, so we've got nice leftovers. And our opponent's just gonna scoop it up. Well, that game went pretty well. Why is Vivien Reid in the deck? Just to have a card draw engine that doesn't die to sweeper effects. And can also help us deal with problematic flyers like Lara Dawnbringer, which is difficult to race otherwise. Alright, this hand's looking good. Interesting decision between Llanowar Elves and Pelt Collector. Probably still Llanowar Elves, to be honest. Then we can go turn 2 Marwyn, turn 3 empty our hand. And have a big Marwyn. Did I drop a banner for another Druid? Yes, I did. Just wanted a little bit more early creatures. And banner can be somewhat awkward at times. Especially multiples if you then just don't have any elves to follow it up. Could this be a Merfolk deck? It is. Alright. Not sure how our matchup is versus Merfolk. Like in Modern, Elves has a good matchup versus Merfolk, but in Standard it might be a bit different. Let's just play Marwyn. I mean, the fact that they have very little in the way of removal means that if we ever find a Beast Whisper, we can go off, but the same can be said for their deck. If they ever find a Seafloor Oracle and some unblockable creatures, we'll have a hard time. Pioneer, that's fine. And there's our Beast Whisper, perfect. So we can go Beast Whisper into a Llanowar Elves probably. Into Pelt Collector. And then next turn we can keep going off. Oh yes. I like where this is going. So next turn we can drop second Beast Whisper. Clancaller's mana neutral for Marwyn too. So we'll get on the board very quickly. And Elves has mana acceleration, whereas Merfolk does not. Alright, that's too bad. Marwyn's gonna be tapped down for a turn cycle. Strange attack, but I'll take it. I guess we can block here. Alright, so we still have the option of Beast Whisper into 2-drop, which seems good. In the meantime, Marwyn will get pretty big. And I do want to be somewhat aggressive here. Another Water Trap Weaver. It's too bad. Don't get to leverage Marwyn. But we're still hitting our land drops here. Opponent's making pretty desperate attacks. They might have a sleep in hand, which could swing the race in their favor, I suppose. So we do want to keep that in mind. Which also indicates that we should try and close out the game as soon as possible. So where does that leave us? We can play Clancaller, 5. Lieutenant, Impulse, probably want Impulse first. Another Clancaller will do, so we can just double Clancaller and swing. And our opponent's just gonna scoop it up. Well, that was a pretty nice draw. So, Elves beats Merfolk. You've heard it here first. Alright, so we're 4-1, not bad, not bad. So, everything we win from here is gravy. Did we run into Mono Red yet? We played a kind of budgety Mono Red version in the same event. And we also played it against it the other day when we were streaming this. And I think we won that one, and I think we also lost one against Mono Red. I mean, it's definitely not an easy matchup by any means. If they have a timely Chain Whirler, they can wreck our day. But definitely capable of winning that matchup with a good draw. This hand seems like a keep. Hopefully we can find a third land. How about against Golgari? I mean, Golgari is a pretty broad archetype. There's Golgari mid-range decks, there's Golgari dedicated graveyard decks. And within those, there's also a lot of versions. But against the more mid-rangey decks, if we can kind of snowball one of our card draw engines like Beast Whisperer, then we can easily win a grindy game. But if they have timely Chupacabras and Sweeper effects, then they can definitely pull ahead. So here, probably just playing Lieutenant. Alright, I think it's Marwyn time. Although we could also go more aggro with Pelt Collector into Clancaller. I think I prefer getting Marwyn down, helps us ramp into Vivien. Haha, cast down can't kill Marwyn. They were maybe hoping to get a Steel Leaf Champion and a Playcrafter. Alright, I think I'll sack the Lieutenant here. And the land is perfect, so we get to go Pelt Collector into Clancaller into Vivien. And there's Beast Whisperer, perfect. Well, our deck is working as intended. Let's see if they have a Chupacabra here to kill Marwyn. Or maybe a Contempt for Vivien. Alright, it's gonna be Chupacabra. Serpent also with a totally reasonable draw. And a Steel Leaf, nice. It's a plus. I like Thorn Lieutenant, I think. And we could Beast Whisperer, attack with Pelt Collector. Or we could just go for the throat with Steel Leaf. I think I still like Beast Whisperer because of the mana efficiency. Then next turn we could go 3+2. And they can probably only answer either Vivien or Beast Whisperer next turn. So even if they Chupacabra a second time killing Beast Whisperer, we still have Vivien. So we should still be okay. Bloodfast, that's totally fine. We're totally okay with our opponent trying to play a grindy game when we've got all these card draw engines going. Plus we could also destroy it if we really wanted to. But I think we would rather just deploy more stuff. So let's start by plussing. If they had a cast down on Beast Whisper, they already would have used it.
The wilds are my shield.
And what to get, what to get. Too bad there's no land, otherwise I would have taken it so we could double spell. Could just take another Beast Whisper, could take a Steel Leaf. Could take Llanowar Elves so we can go Steel Leaf plus Llanowar Elves. I think I'll go with the Llanowar Elves here. And then we haven't played a land for the turn yet, so we're pretty likely to find one with the Impulse. And our opponent's just gonna scoop it up here, too much value. So there we go. To the person asking earlier about the Golgari matchup. Got to see that once we deploy one of our card draw engines, it's difficult for them to keep up. Alright. This hand's a little slow, but probably still keepable. We are on the draw, so we could easily fall behind, especially if they're an aggressive deck. But still don't think we can mulligan. And it's a red deck. Alright, so we're in trouble now. Yeah, the Beast Whisperers are probably going to be too slow in this matchup. So best we can find is a Thorn Lieutenant. I'll probably still take a Clancaller. But yeah, Firebrand can kill Clancaller too if they have a runaway Steamkin here. Or if they have a Chain Whirler on 3, we're going to be in a big amount of trouble. Pyromancer. So I mean, if they don't have a Chain Whirler, then we still have a chance, since we can just trade off Clancaller for Pyromancer. Or if they want to use a Firebrand on it, that's fine. But if they Chain Whirlers, then we're just going to be too far behind. Well, they're not slamming it, so just a Steamkin for now. Into maybe a Wizard's Lining or a Shock. Nope, just Firebrand. Alright, I mean, could have been a lot worse. Still not in a good spot, but still winnable. I think we still Marwyn here. And I may or may not trade it off if they give us the opportunity. But if we could untap with it, we could go Beast Whisper into Druid, which is a pretty nice play. Another Steamkin. Right now I'm leaning towards just not trading for Pyromancer, since the Beast Whisperer will be able to block it, so can Druid of the Cowl. And wow, they're not even offering the trade. So they're definitely underestimating Marwyn here. They should be happy to trade a Pyromancer with it, I think. Alright, so this was a good turn for us. Got to double spell, draw a card. Steel Leaf's a nice follow-up. We are at 12, which is pretty low, but we're back to parity on board at least. Yeah, they definitely should have gotten 2 more points in. We'll see if it ends up mattering. Alright, now it's too late. So maybe that was their reasoning. They thought they could kill Marwyn afterwards, but what are the odds that we are playing a Marwyn deck with no elves in it? Definitely trading Druid for Pyromancer here. And if they attack with a 3/3 Steamkin, we could double block it if we wanted to. So now they are getting aggressive, so we could just double block the 3/3 Steamkin. Our opponent kills Beast Whisperer and Hauser next turn look like? We could go Beast Whisper into Steel Leaf, which is still reasonable. Whereas if we trade, we take 3. I think that's worse. This seems like good value. They get to kill one of our creatures, and we get to kill their biggest Steamkin. Since trading both Druid and Whisper here seems kind of bad. We'll see. Could be that we should have just taken the double trade. Ooh, another Beast Whisper is nice too. Now, let's tap our mana properly. Could Beast Whisper again. No, I think we Steel Leaf. Ooh, nice. Alright, let's hope to dodge a second Chainwhirler here. Definitely still playing defense. We are at 7, so they could easily burn us out, especially if they have a risk factor here. Yep. Yeah, I can't really afford to take 4. But we are ahead on board now, so we kind of have to push that angle, try and kill them as soon as possible. So next turn we could drop another Beast Whisper, go from there. Lava Runner, sure. They're gonna use the mana on the Steamkin for another risk factor, looks like it. So they're gonna have a pretty full hand going into next turn. Yeah, I don't think we're winning this one, but we gave it a good effort. So a nifty thing we can do here is play another Marwyn, and then decide to keep the first one just to draw 2 cards. And grow the first Marwyn. Pelt Collector is decent. Yeah, if we had a little bit more time here, then we might have been able to come back, but... So we'll keep the big one. At least we're going off. A lot of forests. Hoping to draw a bunch more Clancallers, essentially. Alright, do we drop a Steel Leaf here? Feels like that's probably the way to go. Grow all the Pelt Collectors. Well, at least we know what we're gonna be discarding here. Alright, let's get in with Steel Leaf. So now at least if they Chainwhirl us, then we won't lose all the Pelt Collectors. Yeah, Beast Whisper plus Marwyn, quite a combo. Well, they can't chum block with the Lava Runner, so they'll have to... They could block with the Steamkin, use 3 mana for a risk factor. That's probably what I would do in their spot. Since they're not winning on the ground, they have to burn us out. So yeah, I mean, They have to come up with 7 points of burn. We're gonna let them draw with risk factor, for sure. So they'll need 3 burn spells pretty much to kill us. Yeah, if they don't kill us this turn, then they're in trouble. So you can draw all the cards you want, sir. And hopefully they don't have a bunch of cheap Wizard's Linings. So Lightning Strike, Shock does it. Double Lightning Strike, Wizard's Lining does it. Any of those. Risk Factor does not do it. So here we're seeing the drawback of the Punisher cards. Opponent has all the cards they need, but they just can't find burn spells to finish us off. And 3 mana to draw 3 cards in the spot isn't actually all that great. So we might have a chance. Although I guess they still have the Steamkin here. So yeah, the Steamkin providing mana is probably still gonna kill us. They've got 4 mana left over. So double Lightning Strike Shock, Wizard's Lining Shock. I guess my line of chumping with Steamkin last turn wouldn't have worked out. Alright, draw all the cards you want, so now we're at the point where I think they've already played a land, so they won't be able to kill us, since the most they can do is Wizard's Lining us to 1, and a single red spell doesn't let them use mana on Steamkin. So we're at 1. Alright, well, let's see if we can kill our opponent here. It's gonna be close. They have 4 blockers, which is a lot. And their opponent just scoops it up. Wow, okay. That was a pretty epic game. Sweet. Alright. Beat Mono Red. We're 6-1 with Mono Green Elves. Alright, this hand looks okay. It's a green mirror match. Opponent has the turn 1 Llanowar Elves, which does make a big difference. So we're definitely already behind. My guess is we need Beast Whisper more than we need a second Steel Leaf champion. Although if it turns out to just be a race, then Steel Leaf helps us more. But if it ever comes to a board stall, then Beast Whisper takes over the game. So, interesting choice. I think I'm leaning Beast Whisper. And hope they don't have their own Steel Leaf. Alright, just a Branchwalker. And Izoni, 0 points on a black-green deck. And a tapped Guildgate. Alright, well, Steel Leaf is quite good against Izoni, since it can get past all the blockers. But I guess I prefer this type of matchup. Well, I prefer picking a Beast Whisper in this circumstance. So I think we Llanowar Elves plus Impulse over Lieutenant, since Lieutenant doesn't do much. Another Beast Whisper or a land. We kind of want a land. Alright, so next turn we get to play Beast Whisper, which hopefully they're light on removal. And then we can just draw more cards than the opponent. Another Jade Light. And a Contempt. Alright, everything goes to the graveyard, so they're left with a 4/3 Jade Light Ranger, which is okay since it trades for a Steel Leaf champion here. But it's not an insane amount of pressure. I think we still Beast Whisper here. Opponent is missing double black, so even if they had a Contempt, or that's maybe why they put it in the graveyard as well, since they couldn't cast it, so if we can just untap with a Beast Whisper here, we'll be in good shape, so I think we go for it. If we had a 1-drop, we could have considered Steel Leaf this turn, and then next turn Beast Whisper plus 1-drop to get value right away. but I think we just want to try and draw our cards as soon as possible here. So we'll take 7 down to 10, but next turn we might be able to stabilize. So I'm totally fine with what's going on right now. I guess our opponent could have like a Find Finality and blow up our entire board, keeping a big Jade Light Ranger. So that's what we're trying to avoid. Llanowar Elves a good pickup. I think we just go Steel Leaf into Clancaller, since that way Steel Leaf blanks Jade Light Ranger. And hope that our opponent stops attacking and lets us on tap with Beast Whisperer and friends. And we can keep going off. So still no double black, which is important. They might have some removal stuck in their hand and we get to untap. Perfect. Alright, so let's think about this. Probably want to lead with Llanowar Elves, the cheaper one. Could use more mana. Might give us more options. And with 4 mana or 5 mana remaining, we can go Steel Leaf plus a 2-drop. Probably want to lead with Steel Leaf. If we draw into another Clancaller, I might play it instead. Also, if we found a Marwyn with our first draw step, that would have been better. And I think we'll Druid over Lieutenant. So yeah, the only card I'm concerned about right now is Find Finality, wiping our board. Could try and attack and trade for those two. It's not unreasonable. Yeah, if my concern is a removal or a Find Finality, we should try and close out the game quickly. So trading for their 2 creatures seems reasonable. Since Ranger is also the only creature that would survive Find Finality if they put 2+1/+1 counters on it. So let's hope to dodge that. Opponent does have double black now, so they could kill the Steel Leaf on defense. But we still have a decent amount of blockers left over. A Doom Whisper instead. Alright. Doom Whisper is definitely a problem. So if we can find a Vivien, we can shoot it down. Otherwise we don't have many answers to it. Of course we could just threaten lethal and force them to block with it. That could also work. So probably want to start with Marwyn, since that just gives us more mana on the following turn. Could get another Clancaller. Like if we attack with our 2 Steel Leaves, our opponent's forced to block, otherwise Clancaller kills them. I guess we could still activate it after we play Marwyn, get 1 draw step, see if we can maybe find something useful. Alright, just a land. So yeah, I think the Steel Leaves are attacking. And then hope they somehow don't block and die. But they're probably gonna figure it out. Alright, so those double block there. So no need to get a Clancaller here since it's just a trade. So that works. Opponent takes 6 down to 8. And we'll play some more Lieutenants. I don't think we can beat Find Finality at this point, so our best hope is finding Vivien to shoot Whisper. Or maybe grow Marwyn large enough so she can survive a sweeper. Alright, well, drew a bunch of lands, it's too bad. So now we're on empty. Marwyn still dies to Find Finality because Clancaller would also die and then Marwyn would only be a 4/4. Opponent did not surveil with Doom Whisper, so that's good. And Ranger means no Find Finality, another Doom Whisper is fine. Alright, well, we'll need to win the game next turn, which is definitely possible. Opponent's at 8. Although Chupacabra makes that a little more complicated now. Can they afford to attack us though? Opponent's gonna do the math right now to figure it out. If they only have 4 blockers, block, 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 they would still be dead, so no, I don't think they can afford to attack. They might be dead either way. They don't know we have all lands in hand, of course, but... yeah, opponent has to say go. Let's play Pelt Collector. And I'm pretty sure we have lethal here, but can play some more stuff. So let's figure this out. Opponent's got 5 blockers. Block, 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 block. But I'll play the Steel Leaf. Yeah, there's also Thorn Lieutenant's ability, but it's not going to come up here since 3 powers our largest attacker, or well, one of our largest attackers, so the ability isn't even relevant here. Yeah, if they attacked, they were dead, but they didn't attack, so they're not dead, I guess. Yeah, they would go to 1. But they would have to chum block quite a bit. So do we still attack? I mean, we don't have to. We can just kind of chill. And then attack next turn. Yeah, let's just chill. And just play a Beast Whisper here. Maybe we have lethal if we attacked with everyone except Clancaller, and then use Clancaller's ability. Tapping Marwyn could be. I don't know. The fact that I had to recount if we had lethal 4 times made it so we didn't have enough time to make sure. Let's just get another Lieutenant in play. Yeah, it's a little confusing when your summoning sick creatures are kind of in the middle of your non-summoning sick creatures. Gets a little hard to tell. Either way, we should have enough next turn. Let's try and get this in play before the timer runs out. And now Marwyn is safe from a Find Finality at least. So let's pass a turn. Discard some lands. Alright, so would we have had lethal had we attacked everyone except Clancaller and then used Clancaller's ability? Could be. Because then our smaller Llanowar Elves would have gotten in for more damage. But our opponent's going to concede anyway. Alright. Well, math is hard, but we got there anyway, so a nice 7-1 after, I think, picking up a loss right away. We won 7 games undefeated, so not bad, not bad. And not the best rewards, but I guess we doubled our entry fee. Alright. So that was Mono Green Elves for you. Hopefully you got to see some cool games there. And yeah, Beast Whisper plus Marwyn, quite a combo. And yeah, for now I want to thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.